talk Josh Sargent. You brought him up. He's getting some interest from a couple teams that just got promoted in the Premier League. You have
Big
Tones is back. He's got Burnley that's interested. You got Leeds that are interested. In particular, you got Roma and Udinese and Serie A that are interested. Before we bring back Tones into the equation, I want to hear from you, number 9, about Josh Sargent.
Give me Roma.
Roma?
100%. Serie A, get him to Serie A. Udinese, I think he'll still play, and it wouldn't be a bad spot. But Roma, talk about a massive jump from the championship to a side like Roma with the level of quality you have around you. I think Roma would be a great spot for him. And if you're a player that's really trying to push yourself and climb up the ladder with the U.S. men's national team, put yourself in a strong position if you're playing every week to make sure that you're on that World Cup team and maybe have a say, that's the move you got to make.
Yeah, I love that Gianpiero Gasparini is now at Roma too. Obviously had tremendous success with Atalanta, and I do think that Sargent would benefit from this guy. This guy maximizes potential of his players for sure. Big Tones, where do you want to see Josh Sargent?
Roma's a big jump, man. Remember the pressure at Roma. It's the biggest city in Europe that's not had a great deal of success over the years. Of course, last year at the end of the year, when Ranieri comes in, they turn things around. You're going to deal with Dobek, Shomurodov, who had a great end of the season last year. I got to be honest, it would be great if he went there. And Charlie, you said at the end, if he played, I just don't see him playing there. I don't.
Yeah, Tony, I'd say my preferred move for him, like I've said from the very beginning, is to go to Sporting. Go to Lisbon.
Yeah, now it's open.
Right? It's open.
Right.
And now you're in a great position to, play in Europe and play in the Portuguese league and score. You're one of the better teams already. That for me would be the best next move. But I would love for him to go to Roma if that's a real possibility and prove himself in play. If you do that, you might as well get that roster ready and sign him up, because he's going to be playing. He'll be on that World Cup team next summer if he's playing at Roma.
No, 100%.
Yeah. If he's playing, 100%. Yeah.
I wonder what that looks like. And it doesn't sound like a lot of the players have too much communication with Mauricio Pochettino, maybe more with the assistants. But if I was Josh Sargent, I would actually want to inquire and get the thoughts and opinions of Mauricio Pochettino. Like, which club do you think is going to best position me to get? I want to get on the World Cup roster. Like, so go right to the horse. Let's hear from the horse's mouth. What? Now, there's no guarantees, and obviously it's just insight. You don't have to base every decision on what Mauricio Pochettino wants, but getting that insight as to where do you think would be a nice fit for me? What's going to give me the best chance to get on this team? Because I think I deserve it. I wonder what Mauricio Pochettino would say. I assume to cut your teeth at the highest level possible, but maybe he sees some value in going to a Leeds or going to a Burnley. I mean, going to a recently promoted team that's a grind. I don't know if I want to see him at either.
No, what about Cole Tripp? He's saying Leeds. Like, I get the chance of playing at Leeds, but you don't want to go to Leeds, no?
Just a recently promoted team. It's just a different. He's done that before with Norwich when he first left the Bundesliga, right? He came over, and then it's a dogfight every single game.
Then you get no chances to score goals, man. You just don't.
Norwich, you played as a right winger.
Yeah. Okay, you get one, and what's the narrative going to be at the end of the year, right? Yeah. My gosh, Josh Sargent can't score goals, right? Or whoever plays there, they can't score goals. Because that's what it always is, because those teams, and we're seeing a big disparity now in these teams that come up. What we saw, all three teams go back down this year, right? So you're looking at a moment where it's the disparity is so big that if you're not in the right spot, like Jimmy said, I mean, you're just surviving every day. And you're from an attacking standpoint, you come at the end of the year like, oh, I had 8 chances to score goals this year. Where like other guys are having 8 chances a game to score goals, so that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing some comments as well. Cole says best option to stay in the EPL and get paid well. Others like he's not going to play at Roma. So this is from Nick. So why even bother with that? I don't know. You kind of bet. You bet on yourself though. Like that's part of being a player. You got to bet on yourself at some point.
That's the thing, Jimmy. There's a lot of places that players would say, or coaches or fans would say, you're never going to play. But you're saying you're betting on yourself to say, if I want to give myself the best chance, I got to go.
You got to go.
I could say in the championship the rest of my career and be fine and get paid well, be one of the best strikers in the championship.
Maybe get promoted.
Maybe get promoted. Right. Maybe not, and be cool with it. Or you say, why do we play the game? To go as far as we possibly can. We play the game because we love it, but we want to push. How good can we be? How far can I get? What's the biggest club? What's the biggest competition I can play in? So for Josh Sargent, he's been in the championship for too long. For me, too long. If I'm him, Gyökeres is leaving. I got my agent on the phone, and I'm telling him, get me to Sporting. That's a great spot for a striker. I can score a lot of goals for this club. I've proven it in the championship. That's where Gyökeres came from. Let me go.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that'd be a fantastic spot for him.
Yeah, there's some value. I agree with you, Chuck, that if he could play in Europe, right, and maybe like, okay, whatever you want to say about the Portuguese league, competitive, but ultimately it's a 2 or 3 team race, 3 horse race. But if you could get in there and then cut your teeth playing in the Champions League group stages, right? You're going to get 8 games now because of the new format. You get 8 games and cool, you're going to get some good opponents. And then all of a sudden you're demonstrating that you can hold your own and have success against some bigger clubs around Europe. That's where you start to kind of turn the page, or the way people see you becomes a little bit different.
Yeah, there's real pressure there because we're talking about, is the Portuguese league a better league than the championship? And
it's not as competitive, but it might
be.
You're
not playing as many matches, right? I think when you're looking at Ajiman, who's going to be in the championship, Damian Downs in the championship, right? Sargent, who was in the championship, and Haji Wright in the championship. So you have all these U.S. men's national team second tier, if you will, strikers after Balogun and Pepe, all competing in the same league. So it's going to be pretty easy to scout because you're saying, hey, how many goals and assists, how many chances are you creating? How many touches are you having? You know, what is your game compared to all the other same players in the same league? But for Sargent, he's saying, all right, I've done it in this league. Sainz, who just went to Porto, right? In the same league, went to Porto. So why couldn't I go to a team that's going to be competing in Europe when the pressure to play at Porto or Sporting or Benfica is intense?
Yeah.
You're always competing for the league title, and you're always competing for a Champions League or Europa League spot, essentially. So I think that's a wonderful spot to be in if you're Josh Sargent. Maybe the next step, instead of making a jump to a Roma, like Tony said, where you're going against, a Dovbyk, for instance.
Yeah,
and there's so much pressure at that club. There right now, there's so much pressure. Not that you don't want the pressure. There's like a different pressure at Roma right at the moment as it exists, and we've seen it over the years. And it took a guy like Ranieri. We're interested to see what happens with a new manager, because Gasperini, as you recall, he's had fights with all of his big players over the years, and he's called them out. And you wonder, like, if you're doing that publicly, like, what if Josh Sargent has a run of like 4 or 5 games where it doesn't go well, and which is part of being a pro.
It could happen anywhere. It could happen anywhere,
right? Though. And like you got to be able to react to him, because he's pretty tough apparently behind closed doors on these guys, and that could be a great thing for someone in the end. So. I just don't, but the overriding factor with Roma, I just don't at the moment, unless they're making moves that we don't know about, and then Josh is like the guy that's going to replace somebody. Like, I just don't see him playing all that much.
Yeah, but hey, Champions League is another kettle of fish. So if I'm going to Sporting and they see me as a great replacement, remember Josh Sargent's still young. That would be a great move for him. Champions League, Portuguese League. It's
Chuck,
one you have to consider.
The question that we all want to know, though, do you think you could beat Josh Sargent in a foot race right now? You add him to the Jack McGlynn race.
No.
All right, just wanted to make sure that was said. Everything out there. Okay. I know you're sad. We've come to the end of the video. But if you want more average to good content from your favorite former U.S. men's national team players, this is the channel to make it happen. Go look at our other videos, go look at our playlists, and if you want more of the content, the best way to make that happen is to hit like, hit subscribe, and then turn on all of your notifications so that you do not miss anything that we drop or when we go live or whatever it may be. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.